Alright, and we're back. Here I am working on this Gottlieb jet spin game. I've pulled the playfield inserts out, and as you've seen in the previous videos I showed how to remove them. Here they are, all nicely polished and cleaned up. Let me show you right here. And they're nice and smooth. And I've cleaned them up. And I'm getting ready to put them back in the game, but before I put them back in the game I want to go over what I did with the holes. There's black trim around each of the holes. Now what I did, you can take a black Sharpie and you can color in around them. I actually used some black paint, this like a little outdoor craft paint, and you can use a satin finish, works best I think. And I just used a really minute brush and I went around the edges. Now some people will, you know, the black rings were never always put on here completely center with this thing. Sometimes they were, if you look here you can see it's overlaps on one side a whole lot, not a whole lot. What I try to do is I try to just run the black ring all the way around on the inside, and I don't even worry about putting it on the insert anymore. You can see there's a paint on my finger, and that's from another technique I'll show you in a minute. So when this goes back in here, it's actually going to be this guy right here is going to go back in there. Even though the ring won't be completely even, it will be all the way around, even if it wasn't before. So I like to go around and I trace the outline of each of these things with some black paint and make it look nice. And you can see I've already kind of gone over just about everything. And I want you to see up here, you see these targets I did not remove. They've got actually writing on them. The same technique applies. You remove them, but you don't want to sand those things down. In this case, mine weren't really that bad, so I didn't mess with them a whole lot. I do need to go over the outlining on them though. So it wasn't worth it for me to fill these in because they're not really messed up here and it doesn't affect gameplay. But normally what you do with these is you fill them with some kind of resin or clear coat. And then you let that harden and then you sand it down until it's flat. There's a lot of controversy and a lot of discussion about what works. You don't want to use something soft like varathane or urethane or anything like that because it will never really turn clear. It turns cloudy. The same thing with super glue. Super glue works a little bit better if you pour it in here and let it firm up and then sand it over the top. But I really think the best thing to use is some kind of automotive clear coat. Something that's very clear and hard that's designed to be sanded after it dries, and that'll work best for filling in these. But for the rest of these inserts, all I really needed to do was just grind them down, and that's what I'm going to do. And these are all going to go right back in here, and they're going to look really nice, and it's going to be really super smooth. But before I get to putting the inserts in, I'm doing a few little touch-ups. If you look over here, I don't know if you can see, I'll bring the light. I'm mixing up some paint trying to match the playfield color. And this is just some blue and some black. And there's a little spot right there. I don't know if you can see it. I've actually touched it up already. So there was basically a big hole from where this kick out would bang the ball there. I've already mixed up the paint and matched it and put it in. So yeah, one of the things you have to kind of figure out is you let the paint dry because it'll change colors as it dries. You never know if you actually got it right. And these old games, you're not matching the new color of the paint, you're matching the color of the paint as it's faded. So it's a trial and error kind of process, but when you do stuff like this, you put it in here and then I'll take my finger and I'll kind of you know, kind of just mush it around with my finger a little bit and get it in all the nooks and crannies and kind of fade it into the background like that and let it dry. So that's basically what I've done, and so far so good. It's looking good. So I'm going to let the paint dry and do a few more little touch-ups on here. Then I'm going to get ready to put these things in. Now when it comes time to put the inserts in, all you really need is some super glue and something that's very, very smooth. I like to use this piece of wood which is really nice and flat, and so when I slide it over, I know it's just going to be nice and smooth. So what I'll do is I'll put a few drops of super glue on the edge of this thing. I'll set it right there. Then I'll put something on top of it, and I'll push it down just until it's nice and smooth, completely smooth at the top. And these will set really, really quickly, so it's pretty easy to do once you've got it going. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to turn the camera off because I got to mix up some more paint and do a few more little touch-ups here and there. And I'll show you as we move further along. And as always, visit pinballhelp.com, and there'll be more information and details there. Thanks.